Welcome back everybody. I got a request for this next analysis, so today we'll be analyzing the beam routine and beam skills of Yang Bo from China. Interesting enough, I was in the 1992 Olympics and there's a good chance I actually saw Yang Bo compete on beam live. Many people regard Yang Bo as one of the best beam workers in history. After watching countless videos and versions of her beam routine, I began to understand their perspective. To me, it's not just her skills, amplitude, and flexibility, although they do stand out to me. Bo has a fluid elegance in the rhythm of her routine. Some athletes on beam have an aggressive style, and others are more patient. Bo's rhythm and style seem to fall somewhere in the middle of aggressive and patient. Her tumbling series, leaps, and transitions were very solid on beam, yet she very often would have one thing go wrong to keep her from gold or out of the medals. This is probably true of many beam workers, but for Bo it happened at the 1989 World Championships, the 1991 World Championships. In 1992 at the Olympics, she had what looks like a slight slip of her foot on her back layout step out, and that led to somewhat of a slow fall and odd-looking roll off the beam. It literally looks like she just slipped. Whenever she fell out of medal contention, it was often due to one troubled skill within an otherwise great and phenomenal routine. It leaves you with a feeling of just being unfortunate or frustrated. Yang did create her own skill on the beam. It was a jump to an oversplit and throw your head back. Great flexibility, and the challenge was not being able to see the beam below her. She has great natural flexibility and she uses it well. Also, her toe point stands out to me. Those finer details contribute greatly to why she's considered such a strong beam worker. Bo starts with a straddle press to a handstand, the same mount Olympic gold medalist Shannon Miller mounted with. She would make slight changes to this mount, but the structure of her routine stayed pretty consistent. Yang Bo had a very elegant flow and patience to the rhythm of her movements in her beam routine. Wow, look at that handstand. That's a straight handstand. Beautiful. Here's a back handspring, back layout step out, right into a full twisting back 3/4 flip to a chest roll or a rafova. She's really aggressive and consistent with this pass, and with really clean and tight form, she controls the chest roll down very well. She used to do this skill solo until she eventually incorporated it into her tumbling series. Here's her back handspring into 2 layout step outs. Really solid and clean. I've seen her do this many times, and it's very rare that she has any bobbles on this pass. Look closely at her great execution throughout her back layout step outs. She keeps her arms to the side to help stabilize her balance as she's flipping. Great work. This eventually evolved into a one-arm back handspring into 2 layout step outs. That seemed just as consistent as her 2-hand back handspring version. At the 1990 World Cup, she completed her routine with no noticeable bobbles or adjustments and stuck her landing. This led her to a gold medal at the World Cup. Here's her aerial walkover straight into a front scale with smooth rhythm and great flexibility. I like the fact that her leg never drops down as she goes into a cartwheel into her split handstand. I think eventually I'll do a video on gymnasts that were regarded as the best in the world and heavily favored to win, but due to some error or other circumstance they never won. There are quite a few gymnasts that have experienced that. She was a top-ranked gymnast and favored to win in the 1989 World Championships in Stuttgart, Germany. She did an incredible routine with no bobbles, but she stumbled on her dismount, taking several steps forward. It's amazing she didn't put her hands down. If you watch closely, it looks like her foot slightly missed the beam and she didn't get the proper punch into her dismount. It's really difficult to watch a great routine just to see an error on the last skill. So, how would Yang Bo have done if she hit her routine solid? Well, you're looking at her toughest competition in the 1992 Olympics and ultimately the gold medalist on the balance beam, Tatiana Lysenko. She did 3 consecutive back layouts in a very solid series. In my view, it is very dynamic and beautiful. I do believe that Bo has an elegance and a component to her execution of her skills that Lysenko did not, but they're both such great beam workers, I imagine it would have to come down to who had the best day, and that's exactly what happened. Simply put, Tatiana rocked her set and Yang had trouble. If they both did their best routine, I'd be curious who the judges would give the title to. The person who requested this analysis also wanted to know if Yang Bo would still be competitive today. It's kind of a trick question because the rules and requirements change every 4 years after the Olympics, and the athletes adjust what skills and combinations they pursue based on the new rules. In my view, I believe that Yang Bo had the ability, talent, and potential to learn the skills needed to keep up with the new rule changes and stay competitive at the higher levels of world competition. Her legacy was not left in the measurement of her medals. I believe her legacy was left with the influence she had and the style and elegance that many athletes after her tried to duplicate. After retiring from gymnastics in 1993, Yang Bo went to school to study journalism. She also went into show business a little bit and did some singing and acting on TV in the 2000s. Here's a bit of her singing some karaoke. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video and got some value out of it. Your subscription would be much appreciated, as well as any likes or comments you might have. And until next time, all my best and rock on.